This person says, my daughter's first word was die.
Oh.
They speak Russian at home.
Oh, okay.
Die means give or give me. So really, the baby was just saying give,
sure.
but they said it got extremely awkward when they were like in public, like at Target, and the kid would see something they wanted, and they'd be like, die, 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 die. Imagine, right? Woo. Welcome to the Rom-Com Rewind podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Devin.
And like you, I love rewatching movies over and over again.
You're here, you made it to us. You love romantic comedies, which is great news because we do as well.
So this is a show where we rewatch rom-coms, break them down a bit for you, maybe take a peek behind the curtain, dig beneath the surface, and decide, does it still hold up?
This week we have Meet the Fockers. And wherever you're listening to us, throw us a follow. The biggest way you can help the pod is by following us on Instagram at RomComRewind, and we respond to 100% of your DMs on there. Like,
we have a message from Missy. She says, yes, I think we do need a The Summer I Turned Pretty episode with a lot of exclamation marks. And I think Devin should watch, 1, because it's amazing, and 2, I think some scenes are funnier when watching them. He'll laugh at the pomegranate margarita scene. Agreed.
So, this was a conversation in a recent episode. The Summer I Turned Pretty. Season 3 comes out August 3rd. I guess we can pencil it in, maybe?
I was going to say, we better get on it then, because there's 2 seasons we need to potentially get to by August.
Gosh, that's a lot of Summer I Turned Prettiness.
It would be. I don't think we'd do them over the course of 2 episodes. I think we would do 1 episode for each season.
Oh, really?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see. But,
break it up
like
into parts.
Missy says, I think you would like it.
Meet the Fockers is a 2004 romantic comedy directed by Jay Roach. Jay also directed the original Meet the Parents, as well as Dinner for Schmucks, the Austin Powers series, stuff like that. Meet the Fockers is the sequel to Meet the Parents. We have Greg, or his actual name, Gaylord Focker, played by Ben Stiller. Greg is engaged to Pam Burns, played by Terry Polo. The contents of the first film was Greg meeting Pam's parents, Jack Burns, played by Robert De Niro, and Dina, played by Blythe Danner. The short of that story is that Jack is a retired CIA agent and kind of did everything he could to disrupt, undermine, and ultimately break up Greg and Pam before finally agreeing that Greg was indeed a good guy and a good match for Pam. So now we have Meet the Fockers. This story, in some ways, kind of repeats a lot of the same beats, with Jack and Dina meeting Greg's parents, Bernie and Roz, played by Dustin Hoffman and Barbara Streisand. That's your lead-in for Meet the Fockers. What are your thoughts?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Captain Jack Burns speaking.
Yay, Daddy!
We should be arriving at the Focker family residence in approximately 0900 hours.
Greg, a man reaches a certain age when he realizes what's truly important. You know what that is?
Love, friendship, just love, I think.
His legacy.
That too.
If your family circle joins my family circle, they'll form a chain. I can't have a chink in my chain.
This is a fun to the sequel. I would say this is actually, you could say this might be better than the original.
Really?
Not to say it is, but it's still on par, right? You said it hits the same type of beats. Personally, I think I've seen this movie more than Meet the Parents.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I know why.
Why?
Well, no, keep going and I'll tell you why.
Okay. I think the addition of Greg's parents were a pleasant surprise to this movie. They were fun, and it was such an off-balance moment for Robert De Niro's character Jack. It was just such a out of control situation for him throughout the entire movie, and I thought it was really well done. I thought Robert De Niro did a good job. For 15 years, this was his highest rated movie he had done.
Really? Wait,
yes.
Robert De Niro?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
For 15 years?
For 15 years. Isn't that funny?
What about Taxi Driver? Was that more than 15 years ago? I'm guessing?
Math, not my thing.
Wow.
So I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah. So, I mean, he did do a really good job. He does play this role really well in this franchise, right?
Oh, if you want disgruntled old man, curmudgeon-y old man De Niro, he's the formula.
Yeah.
He's perfect.
I think this movie is funny. I think some of the jokes might not hit anymore. It's kind of a cheesy funny. if I can say that. There's certain things like the cat flushing the toilet, the dog going down the toilet, things that more than likely probably wouldn't happen. The fake man boob,
the fake man boob was
things like that are just a little
something.
sticky, but they're out of the box thinking. Like you've never seen the man boob in a movie before, right?
And we haven't seen one since, which I feel like maybe is a sign, guys. No, I actually love the man boob storyline. It's one of my favorites.
God. It's just, for somehow Jack always puts Greg in a compromising position to everyone else around him, like it's just time and time again. And it's a funny thing that goes throughout the franchise.
Yeah, and in the first film, it was Greg and Jack and the conflict there. But now there's the added, you've got Dustin Hoffman's character, Bernie, Roz, Barbara Streisand. Like, that's the added conflict this time around, and Greg's kind of stuck in the middle, which is even more comical at times.
Well, yes, because Greg is now in the circle of trust. He's finally made it into the family.
Circle of trust.
And then we get, the edging out of the circle of trust for a bunch of different reasons across the board, which we see throughout this movie, and we'll touch on. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good movie. Like, it's fine. It's a good one.
So before we did this film, I thought to myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen this once or twice. No, this is a special film that I'm going to file immediately into the category of
Best background movie?
Cable TV champion. Yes, kind of.
Right,
kind of like that.
It's a good one. Like I said, it's fine. You can put it on the background. It's a really good one to put on the background.
Well, I'm going to paint the picture for you. The year is 2007, let's say. And those movies, it's like a random Tuesday, middle of summer. There's no real sports on. There's nothing really to watch. And you cruise through the TV channels on cable and you land on, I've seen this before. This is kind of nice. And you flick on that movie that you've seen 5, 8, 12 times already. I think Meet the Fockers is one of those like key movies.
I think you're right. Do you think now it would go right to streaming? I think it would. It would never hit theaters.
Yes, I agree.
I think it would never hit theaters now.
Did you? I felt like a Russian sleeper agent watching this movie because I had like no recollection of it, and then certain the scenes were happening. I'm like, oh yeah, this one. And I'm like remembering lines. I'm like, how do I know this? It's because it's that movie that was just on cable TV, and you like 15 years ago, you just watched it because it was there.
I do meld the two, but like together sometimes. Like there's certain things that I remember from the first one that I think are in the second one, or vice versa. And
totally agree.
They do have a similar plot line and storyline throughout both of them, right? It's meet the family, meet the extended family now. So we have Pam and Greg. They're living together now. It's been 2 years since the first movie, and they're going to be visiting his parents with Pam's parents on their way to the airport. Everything is just coming up Pam and Greg. The green lights, the taxi that's pulled over already for them, the airplane, who had the same stewardess as the first one that kicked Greg off, is just overly nice. Like everything's just perfect. The couple find, when they get to Pam's parents' house, the dad, Jack, teaching their nephew sign language, which our son Wells was able to sign as well.
Well, it's funny. At the time of this movie, I think that was first starting to be a concept, and now I think it's a lot more generally understood that babies they understand words before they can actually vocalize the words. So sign language to start is actually, it can be at times
a useful communication
very helpful
technique.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because some people have seen our son sign, and they've asked like, why is he signing? Like, is everything okay? Yes, babies learn now. Those who choose to teach their baby sign language. We started, I think, at around 6 months. We didn't actually start to see Wells signing back to us till he was about 1 year old.
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
Wild about this movie. I feel like they were on the cutting edge of a lot of things. I have a man boob as well, which is...
What?
We don't want nipple confusion, Sarah.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. I obviously don't have a man boob, but...
I was very confused.
I know, you're like, we do?
I'm like, what?
It's a pretty obvious joke here, Sarah.
Yeah.
One would think you'd know.
Well, yeah, I was very confused. Is this for the next one or what's happening here? So at Jack and Dina's house, Jack pulls up with a massive RV. It's brand new, shows it off to Greg, and he says, throw a brick at it, Greg. So of course he does, because he will do anything that Jack says. And it ricochets off of the RV and basically doesn't scratch the RV, but lands on their rental car, which he didn't get insurance because, again, everything was coming up Pam and Greg until that moment. It hits his own rental car, cracks the windshield, and I mean cracks the windshield.
I think this is an important moment in our movie because you said it. Everything's coming up Greg, and now this one moment happens. I think it's a showing of the regression back to the conflict, maybe starting. Well, not starting.
The circle of trust.
The circle of trust is being wobbled a little bit here,
yes.
And the drive still goes well, but I think we saw a wobble there.
I agree. On their way to Florida to see Greg's parents, they stop at probably a truck stop, and Jack brings out the mammary gland, or as we like it, the man boob.
I love this so much. It's because in the original, Jack was an eccentric CIA agent.
Yeah.
So how do we take that and just revolutionize everything?
As a retiree
who's maybe a little bit too involved in his grandson's
That's
life.
an understatement.
So we give him a dad boob.
Yes, so that, again, no nipple confusion, he can breastfeed little Jack, or LJ. They make it to the Fockers house. Greg's dad, played by Dustin Hoffman, Bernie, and Barbara Streisand is Roz, is the mom. She is a sex therapist. They have a shrine of Gaylord on the wall of all of his 8th to 10th place ribbons. They do make those. And they are to sleep, the parents are to sleep in Roz's office. And of course, Greg is super embarrassed and goes to hide all of the sex therapist items that she has throughout, which she believes that she's already done a good job. Now, I think you do start to see the cracks in the windshield happening, right? Because Greg wants to impress Jack so much that he tries to hide the quirkiness of his parents to Jack.
Now, we do have a very interesting character here, RCR fam. Somebody who maybe is slightly like one of our parents. Gonna toss Roz out there. No, Sarah's mom is not a sex therapist.
I was gonna say, who is that?
Actually, no, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not your mom is Roz. Maybe you're Roz.
Oh, gosh.
Because Sarah has kept her own 8th place ribbons.
Oh, my God.
From various activities and athletics.
You're so funny.
We found this box. We found the box. We talked about it on a recent episode. Everybody,
We did.
Some people have a memory box. Sarah has a memory box of
two.
herself. She has 2 memory boxes. And when you go into Sarah's memory box,
I'm sorry, aren't all memory boxes of them, of the person who holds the memory boxes? You're of herself.
No,
yeah.
well, in this scenario, it's the parents have the memories of Gaylord.
Oh, yeah, okay,
They're
fair.
keeping the memories of their son.
Right.
You're like, I want my own memories, so I'm going to keep those. And there were, I swear to God, 8th place ribbons.
There were other ribbons, too, that were not 8th place.
Yeah, but there were some 8th place ribbons.
Let's remember that, all right? Good God.
Are you Roz? Is that you? Wow.
I feel like it was Bernie more so than Roz.
It could have been. Are you Bernie then? I could see you as a little bit of a Bernie, actually. Sarah just oohed.
No,
She's not disagreeing.
No, I'd rather be Roz.
Are you
a Bernie?
A Dustin
Hoffman?
Maybe a little bit.
A little RV line in front of it, activist,
Yeah. A little foreshadowing for later on in the flick.
So the parents meet, they get along relatively well. We can see that Greg's parents are a lot more emotionally and physically involved.
So long to see my best buddy.
Good to see you.
Come here.
Okay.
Come here. Oh, I missed your smell. This is not the most handsome young man you've ever seen in your life. I used to call him a young Jewish Marlon Brando. Huh? Can you believe I conceived him with one testicle? Oh. No, really. It's true. I only have one because the other one never dropped. It's called an understanding testicle. It's not uncommon. But look at him.
Where's Jack? His love language is not touch. And I think Dina, Pam's mom, wants more of that love, which is, perfect because Roz is a sex therapist. We find out that night that Pam is pregnant when she tells Greg. Pam decides that she doesn't want to tell her dad until the end of the weekend at least. She does not want him finding out that she is pregnant prior to marriage.
Classic main conflict in a story where pregnant.
The big secret.
The big secrets. We can't tell Jack.
Yes. After being told specifically to not bring the dog into the trailer, Bernie and Roz bring the dog into the trailer, and the cat freaks out and the dog runs, and the cat Jinx ends up flushing the dog down the toilet, and Bernie, Greg's dad, takes the toilet off the floor, which is the dog is just hanging out underneath. Now they have to sleep in the house in the office. They
do, and this is a continuation of a joke from Meet the Parents, is that the cat goes to the toilet. Now the cat's learned how to flush the toilet. Jinxie cat. Can we do, as found on Reddit, weirdest things people have taught their pets and animals stories?
Absolutely.
Because Jinxie cat knows how to flush a toilet. It's a little strange. How does it compare, however, to this person who says, I'll go first and it's a gross one.
Oh, God.
I accidentally trained my dog to stay perfectly still while I cleaned her eyes and removed her eye boogers. Here's the gross part. As long as she gets to eat them afterwards. Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh, that's so gross.
She loves it. It's super weird, but it's also super useful. She hated people going near her eyes and face, and now she has the promise of eating the boogers after.
They're salty.
Oh, God. Isn't that disgusting? But if you've ever had an animal like that, you know, like, they are like,
yes.
I think, like, Frankie, our dog, has eaten her own toenail clippings before.
Yeah, she has, actually. I don't know why.
Clipping her nail.
That's actually true. She has.
Yeah. Dogs do that.
That's weird. Yeah. Leave no trace behind.
Yeah, I guess. I don't
actually know.
Eye boogers? You got to watch out for leaving eye boogers
Those
behind.
salty things.
This person says, if my puppy is being a pain in the butt, I look at her and I go, where's your dad? Go find your dad. And she gets up and goes to find my husband instead. It was totally unintentional, but I'm not going to lie. It's great sometimes.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah, I guess it's cute. Now the dog's going to go bother the other human.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a great idea.
This one's cute, actually. We accidentally taught our dog to stop our cats from scratching the furniture. He learned that when we make the pss, pss, pss sound, it meant the cat was doing something bad, and he now goes and kind of headbutts the cat gently off of whatever they're doing.
Oh, that's very smart.
Which is typically them scratching furniture.
Yeah.
This one you'll love, Sarah. It's called Long Dog.
Okay. Is it a wiener dog?
No.
Oh.
This person says, I have a German Shepherd who's overly attached, so she sleeps in my bed, but she's too freaking big, and sleeping at the foot of the bed just hogs all of the foot space. So when I tell her Long Dog, she moves from the foot and lies long ways next to me.
Oh,
the same way a person would.
Okay, we need to teach Frankie that.
We need to teach our dog that, because, yes, our dog, I mean, first of all, Sarah and I have a continuous argument since the beginning of time, really, of whether a dog should be allowed to sleep on the bed.
Yeah, okay.
Sarah is firmly in the let the dog sleep on the bed camp.
But I do kick her off when I need to long dog. Because Frankie doesn't long dog, and we need to teach her that, and then I'll be totally fine.
Can I tell you something? I saw a stat the other day that's like so obvious. Something like 74% of people who let their animals sleep on the bed with them report back pain.
Well,
how often?
It's because they don't do long dog.
It's because they don't do long dog. But every time, like whenever Frankie sleeps on the bed the next morning, Sarah, oh my God, my back. Wow.
I do. You know what though? Sometimes she jumps up in the middle of the night and I don't even realize it until I wake up because my back hurts, and then I kick her off again.
Just if you're also in a struggle about whether pets should sleep on the bed, that's your stat of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
The girl is on, like, that woman is on to something with long dog, though, I will say.
Oh, hell yeah.
I like it.
And then last one, my daughter taught our dog to bring her bottles of water from the pantry, which is funny. I've seen dogs bring cans of beer to people. Mostly guys. Actually, that was exclusively entirely men watching sports that I've seen those videos. But yeah, that's another thing that's definitely real.
Stay hydrated.
The daughter is smart. She stayed hydrated. Yeah. Those guys in those videos are not staying hydrated. Jinxie cat flushes toilets.
She does, or he does. So we then find out that Isabel, who Greg had a massive crush on when he was younger, She has her own catering business now, used to be their housekeeper. We also find out that was Greg's first lover.
So how do we feel about Greg in this moment here? He did not reveal to his soon-to-be wife that his first experience was with
Their housekeeper?
the housekeeper.
I mean,
What do we think?
there are things in this movie that are a lot worse than this.
Okay.
like to not tell, like, I don't really see it. I mean, Pam is super understanding, but I think it's that he had told her his first time was with someone else in a different circumstance. Yeah. So I think that's just like, why didn't you tell me? And then he's like, well, what would you have thought if my first time was with a housekeeper that we had?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what it is. Greg tells Isabel to keep it quiet, and she agrees. She's like, oh yeah, I totally understand. But when he goes back out to the table with a new wine bottle, Bernie, his dad, has told the whole table that he lost his virginity to Isabel when he was 19.
Bernie's such an idiot.
Time you hear me tell the gang how you lost your virginity to Isabel. He was 19, a late bloomer.
You slept with Isabel?
We were relieved.
What? Why would you bring that up?
What's the problem? It was, 15 years ago?
Honey, your father thought that it would be fun to share stories about our first time.
Really? That sounds like fun.
He is like,
I love Bernie, but I
Yeah.
also hate Bernie in moments
okay, I don't
like
want
that.
to be Bernie anymore. Okay?
Yeah, I know. You're not like Bernie.
No,
you
thank
wouldn't do that. You would not.
I would never do that. The next morning, Greg
Hey,
tells
place ribbons, though. Absolutely, Bernie.
The next morning, Greg tells the family that they're thinking of moving up the wedding till June, like in June. He catches everybody off guard. Bernie says, oh my God, that's great. We can announce it at the party tonight. Everybody's caught off guard about that because nobody knew that Roz and Bernie were going to have a party for them, an engagement party for them. Roz comes in and asks, how far along Pam is. She totally knows that Pam is pregnant. She's glowing. And they're just floored that Roz just knows. But again, I mean, I feel like she'd know.
Barbara Streisand just has this look like she knows things.
Yeah, The girls go shopping, and Bernie and Jack, they go to get the RV fixed. Greg will be staying at home and watching little Jack, and there are tons of rules, and Jack even installs a camera to watch him. While out shopping, Roz confronts Dina, saying that, she can help reconnect Jack and her. And because she is, in fact, a sex therapist and not a yoga instructor, which is what they thought she was. Back at the house, little Jack is crying, and you're supposed to leave him to let it cry some method.
The Ferber method.
The Ferber method,
yeah.
Thank you. And Greg can't handle it, so goes in, and they watch TV together. He ends up accidentally teaching Jack how to say a bad word.
Yes, a bad word. And I have more stories from Reddit regarding this. Worst first words from babies.
Okay.
These are real stories as found on Reddit. And you know what? There's going to be a few bleeps in here. So we'll bleep the word that
Yes.
Jack says. He says,
He does.
yeah. Not to be outdone by. This person says, my child's first word was Rafiki from The Lion King, which is not controversial. However, they mispronounced it Rafiki.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I can tell you right now, I know exactly where that's going. You put an F in there, you know where it's going. That's really funny.
Amazing.
I had a friend who, and she listens to the pod, so I'm guessing she'll probably eventually hear this, but
Surprise.
their Italian grandmother, the family dog was Tucker, but she was Italian, and so you would call him.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Love that. Love that
I know,
so much.
it was great.
Kids not being able to pronounce things will never not be funny. Like, that's always going to be a thing. I used to say, we had a lot of seafood when I was young, and I couldn't say lobster. I would say lobster.
Lobster.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Just,
cute.
hey, we're going to get some lobsters. This person says, my daughter's first word was die.
Oh.
They speak Russian at home.
Oh, okay.
Die means give or give me. So
Okay.
really, the baby was just saying
For
give,
sure.
but they said it got extremely awkward when they were like in public, like at Target, and the kid would see something they wanted, and they'd be like, die, 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 die. Imagine, right? Woo.
We're going to just bring our card over here.
Don't worry about her. Don't worry about her. She doesn't want you to die. You know what? On the same topic of the first one, this person says, my child's first word was fire truck. But of course, the T was tough to pronounce, just like Tucker. Yeah, they said firefuck instead. Once again, it's never not going to be funny. No. This person says my child's first word was quack because they just loved feeding ducks, which is so cute.
Quack.
Yeah. Wells really likes birds. He thinks all birds make caw
Oh
sound.
yes, what bird? What does the chickadee sound like? Tweet tweet? No, caw.
We have a lot of crows around.
Yeah.
And this person says, and this is one that I think all parents are really afraid of. It wasn't the first word, but it was in like the first collection of words. One day we were at Walmart and I dropped my purse and everything fell out of it into a puddle and I muttered shit to myself. And then for a full week, my child did not say another word except for shit.
Yeah.
Classic.
And you
happens.
can't react. Like I have reverted to saying instead of that S word, I say shiitake mushrooms.
Which is insane behavior, Sarah. Like
shiitake mushrooms.
You're
That's
adding
what I say.
fungi to the mix. Like, let's get food involved here instead of just say shoot.
Yeah, but I can see Wells going around shoot, shoot, shoot. This way, he can't even say shiitake mushrooms. He just won't say it. You know, shiitake mushrooms.
Shiitake mushrooms.
Oh, shiitake mushrooms. You know, it works. So Bernie and Jack go and get their RV fixed. Instead of going to an auto body shop, they go to Isabel's house and they see that she has a 15-year-old son who looks very much like Greg. Jack starts to think that and he begins to put things together, he thinks, and he believes that Jorge is, in fact, Greg's son. Greg and Isabel's son. He's 15 years old, which was when, it all went down.
Can I just say, I would love to be behind the scenes in the casting of this movie because there was a conversation that it's like, okay, we need a vaguely Ben Stiller, somewhat Latino looking kid.
Yeah.
Like we're looking mid-teens, maybe late teens. And they found him.
I know.
How did they find this kid?
Part of me is like, did you put a mask on his face? Like, I'm not sure.
For sure that's not his actual eyebrows, but everything else, I'm like, you found a vaguely Ben Stiller looking Latino kid. Like, that's so random.
The makeup artist in this movie was really good.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah.
And I also wonder, like, that actor, he must be like, I'm just waiting for that one Ben Stiller. If you need a young Ben Stiller,
I'm here.
Great tan. I'm done. I'm in.
They say there's 7 people in the world that look exactly like you.
Is that true?
Yes, you do truly have doppelgangers, and there's 7 around the world at one time or so, give or take, I'm sure, that look like you.
You know what? I think that's crazy, but at the same time, you and I have both, we took a trip together years ago back to where my family is from, the east coast of Canada, Cape Breton. And like, I don't find that there are a lot of people who look like me around here. But when we were down there, like distinctly, there was a guy who I'm like, that looks exactly like my father. And I have no idea who that man is. Like, yes, I could see it. I'm sure there's a dude in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia right now who like looks like me.
We found a version of my dad when we were in Croatia.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes.
But different ethnicity.
Yes,
but like, yes.
But it was totally him. Like it was 1000% him.
If your dad was Southeast Asian, that was him. That was the guy.
Yeah,
it was wild.
It was absolutely wild. Like I did like a quadruple take. I was like, oh my gosh, Dad, like that is you. That's Dave, like that is him.
Oh God, that was
right.
amazing.
Like there's 7 people around the world, so they say.
And classic, I remember your dad. He didn't see it, and it's like, of course you didn't see it.
We did.
The person in question never sees it.
We did show him the picture, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I could kind of see it."
I guess
like,
so. Like, no, that's you.
Every
that
person that I show that picture to,
even the mannerisms too.
It's floored. That is. Yeah. Did I take a picture of him? Yes. I did.
Yeah. We looked
He's in the
creepy,
background of one of our pictures.
Yeah.
We did the classic, take a picture of the actual person behind me, but pretend you're taking a picture of us.
That's right. That's right. We did do that.
My brother was with us. Yeah. Oh my God, that was so funny. So everybody gets home and little Jack is sitting on the couch watching TV with violence on the television. His hands are glued to a bottle of liquor and everybody just blames Greg that he did such a bad job parenting. When he really didn't. I don't think he did.
Like, he let it get out of control pretty quick.
I think...
But it's not all Greg's fault.
I was going to say, Jack puts way too much pressure on him, and Roz is just, like, Roz had called during this time and told him to put some liquor on his gums to put him back to sleep, which, you know, I don't think you do that now.
Yeah, a little antiquated.
I don't care if they did call you Larry Poppins. You are completely unfit to handle a child.
It was Barry Poppins.
What kind of a sick cocktail were you going to make my grandson?
Jack, the baby is teething. I told Greg to give him some rum to ease the pain.
It was your idea?
Yes.
What is wrong with you people?
Darling, I used to rub bourbon on Denny's gum.
Yeah, and look what happened to him. Greg, you couldn't follow a simple set of instructions?
Jack, he was screaming, so I went in and I gave him a little attention, okay?
But he's getting very conflicted rules and instructions. So, you know, it's not his fault. They realize that LJ's first word is asshole and that Greg taught him that. Jack then decides that the wedding shouldn't happen anymore at all, calls a family meeting, and Roz tells Bernie the secret that Pam is pregnant, and Greg is pissed because Bernie can't keep a secret. And then Bernie's pissed because he just wants to be honest and he can't handle all the secrets anymore and he starts freaking out. And it's just like, you know what? First off, this isn't your secret to tell.
Yeah.
This is Pam and Greg's.
Agreed.
And yes, you're excited to be the grandfather, but it's not your secret to tell. So keep the secret, pretend you don't know it, and move on.
Move on, yeah.
Jack goes upstairs and overhears Roz talking about the fruit of your loins, and he thinks that they're in fact talking about Jorge and that Greg needs to take responsibility for that and that they're so excited, etc. Later on that day, after an intense massage from Roz, Jack goes into the RV to order a special DNA test for Greg and Jorge. He invites Jorge to the engagement party later that evening, and Greg meets him and is very surprised to pretty much realize that he is in fact the father. Well, while in the washroom, Greg and Jack talk, and Greg gets injected by Jack via a needle of truth serum in his neck just before Greg goes up to give a speech about thanking everybody for coming, which is the whole truth comes out about so many different things. He spills the beans on Pam being pregnant and tells everyone that he has a son.
He's mine. Search your feelings, Jorge. You know it to be true. Yo soy tu papá. It's okay, I know, a lot of information. You let it settle. Who'd have thunk it, huh? Come on, give that kid a hand. Oh, and Jack? Pam's pregnant.
The next morning, Pam confronts Greg, but Greg says, you know what, I don't remember anything from the night before. And Pam forgives him. Pam tells Greg that Jack is not happy about her being pregnant, as they would have expected. And in turn, everyone confronts Jack, and Dina calls him out for having drugged Greg. She saw that the syringe that he used for drugging Greg, and Jack leaves when he realizes that he is outside of his own circle of trust now.
I feel like there should have been more outrage of the injecting of Greg.
Yes.
People were annoyed, but they weren't like, that is illegal, Jack. I would be, if somebody had drugged you, that would be...
Yeah.
The beginning and the end of everything.
Absolutely.
We need to get to the bottom of this. And he storms off in his RV.
Oh, yeah. It was as if it was nothing. Jack leaves and Greg and Bernie go after him and they get pulled over by a cop. While Jack is driving in his RV, Jack realizes that he was an a-hole, especially after finding out that Greg is not, in fact, the father to Jorge. He turns back, and on the way back, he sees Bernie and Greg basically... being arrested by the police officer. Greg runs, gets tased by the officer. Jack stops and goes to save them by saying he's in the CIA. The cop doesn't even know what that is, and they all get arrested, with Jack being tased as well. While at the police station in the cell, Greg tells both the dads that Pam and him will be starting their own circle of trust, and because they're starting their own family, and that the two of them won't be in it because they're just too intense about everything and they just need to come together as a family. They start arguing, and sure enough, of course, though, they all make up. Greg tells his dad and Jack that Pam and Greg are going to be getting married that weekend in Florida. Jack says no at first, but then he's not in the circle of trust anymore, so who cares? Except he does, in fact, make one one decision, which I don't know why they would have done this, to have Kevin, who was Pam's previous boyfriend / I think they were engaged, I thought, but maybe he was just her boyfriend, old boyfriend, officiate the wedding at Jack's request, and Greg is fine with it.
I mean, it's because we need to get Owen Wilson in this Ben Stiller movie. Isn't Owen Wilson in every Ben Stiller movie? I'm over exaggerating, but it
You're
feels
probably right.
like.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yes. And you know what? All things to say, I do believe that Owen Wilson was excited to reprise his role.
Oh, I think he absolutely was. Quick sidebar: Ray Santiago, the guy who plays Jorge, he does look like Ben Stiller.
Does he?
Or yes, like it's.
Oh my gosh!
Pretty remarkable. The eyebrows are real.
They're real?
Those are his actual eyebrows.
Oh my goodness.
Also, fun fact, he was in the original Meet the Parents. I don't remember him.
I don't remember him
Maybe
either.
he played a young Ben Stiller and we didn't notice.
Oh, I don't know. That's what I mean. I remember this one more than the first one.
Yeah. And now we're on to quick facts.
This was the highest grossing film in which Robert De Niro has ever appeared until Joker came out in 2019.
Robert De Niro was in...
I know, I asked myself the same question.
Oh, he was the show host at the end of Joker.
Yes.
Sorry,
So,
you know what? Anything DC with specifically that character, I'm like, hold on. We talking Christopher Nolan? No. We're talking the other one. Not Suicide Squad.
Yes.
We're not talking Jared Leto. We're talking Joaquin Phoenix, 2019 Joker.
That one.
Got it.
Correct.
Okay. Took a sec.
Terry Polo accidentally called Barbara Streisand Boob, which ended up becoming her on-set nickname. Alana Eubank, who played Greg's former housekeeper Isabel, is actually 10 years younger than Ben Stiller.
I did think the looks didn't quite match up for me.
James Brolin was originally approached for the role of Bernie, but turned it down. When director Jay Roach went to approach Dustin Hoffman for the role, Hoffman was talking nonstop and made him an instant choice for Bernie. Robin Williams turned down the role for Bernie in favor of course, Dustin Hoffman taking it.
I think James Brolin could have done it like his character in Life in Pieces, maybe a little bit more. Like he's very aloof in that show.
He is very
maybe a little bit more zany with the aloofness, I think. Could pull it off.
Yeah. Barbara Streisand found making this film to be a refreshing experience as it was her first time as just playing an actress in 23 years. Normally, she was much more involved in her films, either as a producer, writer, or a director. At around the 5-minute mark, the flight attendant, Callie Rocha, is the same one from Meet the Parents that came out in 2000. This is why Greg gives her an odd look when she offers to take his bag and be helpful. Robert De Niro spent a lot of time when he wasn't filming hanging out with the twins who played his grandson in the movie. He felt it important to bond with the twins as much as possible to make his on-screen relationship with them credible. At around the 1 hour, 50-minute mark at the wedding, Moses and Jinx sit together sharing a piece of cake. Trainers put a piece of little bits of cat and dog food next to the cake, and the two animals were able to eat near each other without any tension. At around the 12-minute mark at the beginning of the movie, Jinx is first seen exiting the motorhome bathroom with toilet paper attached to his foot. Trainers rigged the paper around a small piece of elastic that fit over the cat's paws, and then fluffed up his abundant hair to conceal the band. Spencer Pickren and Bradley Pickren, who played Little Jack Burns, know sign language and have been in a series of videos called Signing Time in 2002. The MPAA would not allow the name Fockers to be on the posters or part of the main title for the movie unless filmmakers could prove that somewhere in America there was someone with the real last name of Focker. Apparently they found somebody because the movie was granted the name Meet the Fockers.
So there is a Focker out there in the world.
There is, yes. Barbara Streisand modeled her hair for the movie on Dustin Hoffman's wife. At around the 10-minute mark, the horn on the Burns RV plays the tune of Puff the Magic Dragon, which Greg and Jack have a conversation in the first movie. When the first film and this sequel, while hugely successful, failed to raise Terry Polo's profile as an actress, she posed fully nude for Playboy the following year. But that didn't help her either. In fact, many of her friends felt it damaged to the point where Polo had to file for bankruptcy years later. When asked afterwards if she regretted posing on the magazine, she replied saying it was one of the best experiences of her life, Very proud. We shouldn't be ashamed of the human body. The human body is beautiful, and it's a shame we put such a taboo on certain things. Why be ashamed? It's a beautiful thing. The opening scene outside the hospital is the same as in Meet the Parents from 2000. Although set in Florida, the whole movie was shot in LA, California. Little Jack says asshole 9 times, the most said from a minor in a DreamWorks film.
Wow, what an honor.
I know. At around the 31-minute mark, Bernie says he has heard that Jack is a Tom Collins man. Tom Collins, as well as being the name of a cocktail, is the alias Sam Ace Rothstein, or he played De Niro. He was used at the bank in the movie Casino from 1995. The actors and actresses portraying Greg Fockers' parents and in-laws have won a combined 6 Academy Awards. Dustin Hoffman won 2 Oscars for Best Actor for Kramer vs. Kramer in 1979 and Rain Man in 1988. Barbra Streisand won 1 Oscar for Best Actress for Funny Girl in 1968 and 1 Oscar for Best Original Song for Evergreen from the film A Star is Born from 1976. Robert De Niro won an Oscar for Best Actor in a Supporting Role for The Godfather Part 2 in 1974, and another Oscar for Best Actor for Raging Bull in 1980. This movie is voted the 25th funniest movie of all time on Bravo's 100 Funniest Movies. Meet the Parents, the original movie, was 52nd place. Jack's RV is a 2004 Fleetwood Pace Arrow, and Bernie's utility vehicle is a 1970 Volkswagen Thing. My uncle had a Thing vehicle. The rum bottle that the Fockers have in their house and little like LJ's holding is Mount Gay rum. And just like in the first film, Greg's rental car is a 2000 Ford Taurus SE.
Wow.
In Meet the Parents, the first movie, Greg tells Jack that he has a sister. However, in this movie, Bernie and Roz reveal that Greg is in fact an only child. Originally, the writers considered writing a role of Greg's sister into the script and considered approaching Julia Roberts, Cameron Diaz, or Demi Moore for that role, but they decided to not include it as they felt it would be funnier that Greg being an only child was just another lie that he told Jack from the first movie to carry over onto the sequel. Owen Wilson has a cameo at the end of the movie as Kevin, reprising his role from the first movie, Meet the Parents, as Pam's ex-fiancé, who has since become an interfaith minister. Although Kevin was portrayed as a good Christian man in the first movie, there was a deleted scene which showed Kevin talking to Dr. Bob and both insulted Greg, where he could overhear it. However, when a sequel was announced, director Jay Roach thought keeping that scene would establish unnecessary tension between Greg and Kevin, and that Kevin might return in the sequel as an advocate for Pam and Greg's marriage. As a result, the scene was deleted in order to show that Kevin no longer had, hard feelings towards Greg. The scene can be found on the DVD release of Meet the Parents in the first movie.
Interesting that they were already thinking, how can we bring Owen Wilson back in the sequel before even finishing the first one?
Like you said, Ben Stiller movie.
They had grand plans for this.
The sequel took 4 years to make after Meet the Parents because the writers were unsure of how to introduce Greg's parents and who ultimately would portray them. It was also because the director had to finish his Austin Powers trilogy with Austin Powers and Goldmember in 2002. Although the sequel was released 4 years later, after its predecessor, it is in fact takes place only 2 years after Meet the Parents, meaning that Greg and Pam were only engaged for 2 years after the first film and not 4 despite the sequel's release being 4 years later. When visiting the Focker household, Pam is seen looking at a vinyl record. The album is Make It Big by Wham. Chevy Chase was considered for the role of Bernie Focker.
I could not see it at all.
Me neither. Roz Focker gives Jack a massage where he lies shirtless on a massage table and she rubs his back and then rubs her hands down under his belly. After doing that a few minutes, she says, oops, hit some driftwood. Coincidence is Barbra Streisand acted in Maurice Ty Dunn's play Driftwood in New York City in 1959.
What a throwback.
I know, 1959 too. Tom McCarthy and Nicole DeHuff were supposed to reprise their role as Dr. Bob and Debbie from the first movie, Meet the Parents, who were Pam's sister and brother-in-law, respectively. Or I would assume LJ's parents. They were to appear at the end of the film in a cameo at the wedding. However, at the time of filming, Nicole DeHuff had too many other projects and became seriously ill. She sadly passed away from pneumonia at the age of 30 in February 2005, only 2 months after this film's release.
Wow.
Yeah, Tom McCarthy reprised his role as Dr. Bob in the third film in the series, Little Fockers, that came out in 2010. Jack says that Greg's son looks like a young Latino Marlon Brando. De Niro and Brando played Don Vito Corleone in the Godfather film franchise. Brando played the older version in The Godfather 1972, and De Niro played the younger version in The Godfather Part 2 in 1974. So The Godfather, and then I don't know if I said Part 2 for both, sorry. The canopy on the wedding cake at the end of the film is a miniature version of the wooden canopy Kevin made for Pam's sister's wedding in the original Meet the Parents movie.
Honorable mentions.
I actually loved Greg's parents in this.
Okay.
Because I loved the dynamic that they posed to Pam's parents. Like, I loved the dynamic and the chaos that they created. And I mean, I love Barbra Streisand. Like, I loved the chemistry between her and Dustin Hoffman's character, and like their, I guess, complete and utter, like they're like total opposing forces.
Yeah.
The parents. And it was kind of about the parents, and I love that.
Dustin Hoffman and Barbra Streisand had great chemistry in this.
They did.
Like, I really believed them. Like, I know, they're
totally
together.
married.
They are married, 100%. Okay, there's two people I want to honorably mention, but then I want to talk about something completely different for my honorable mentions. I want to honorably mention that police officer.
Oh my
who
God.
stops them. Tim Blake Nelson is one of those guys. He's one of those actors who people sleep on, but he is fantastic in everything I've seen. Fallout just came out, the TV series. Walton Goggins plays the ghoul in that.
They're saying that's the best role he's ever done.
I feel like Tim Blake Nelson is similar to Walton Goggins, where it's like, I've seen him in so many things. He's never not good.
Yeah.
But like, it's few and far between that he's like the leading guy in the thing. Also, shout out to Ray Santiago, who obviously plays Jorge. Hilarious. I want to honorably mention, though, I'm going to crown this right now. I'm going to call it the Ben Stiller scale.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. I think we should make this a thing because Meet the Fockers, Ben Stiller has some of the zaniest, strangest, oddest roles in Hollywood, I think. And I mean, thinking about Meet the Fockers, it's like weird, but it's not as weird as it gets. So I thought we could maybe put some marks on a map of the Ben Stiller scale just so we can see how it works. I'm going to say right off the top, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. That's like a 1.
I actually loved that movie. Loved that movie.
It's fantastic, but he's an entirely average man who goes on a amazing journey, but like he's just normal.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna say Dodgeball White Goodman. That role for Ben Stiller is like a 10 on the Ben Stiller scale. So where do we think Meet the Fockers lands?
Oh gosh,
Gaylord Fokker.
I think that's like a 2 or a 3.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely interesting, but it's nowhere. It's below the norm, I would say.
Yeah.
How about Tug Speedman from Tropic Thunder?
Okay, that movie is unhinged.
The movie itself is unhinged.
The movie is so... I've only seen it once because I don't know if I can ever watch it again.
Oh my gosh, we need to watch this movie again.
It is so offside on so many, for so many reasons.
Sure, yeah.
I just don't know if I can actually watch it. I don't remember his character in it. All I remember is the movie is completely unhinged. So I would put it up there.
Yeah, I would say parts of his performance are like a 5. Like he's just kind of an average struggling actor, but then he goes into this other role, which you're right, might have aged poorly. And I think bumps him up to like a 6 or a 7. How about Derek Zoolander?
Okay, that's going to be like an 8.
Okay.
Like I would say
agree.
like 8, 9. You can't forget Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
Those are like a 2.
Okay, I would
say even a 1. That's like on par with like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
He's a security guard, right?
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
What's that one where he hates kids at that camp where they need to lose weight?
Okay, I don't know that one.
Okay, I need to look this up. I don't know how to Google this though. This is gonna be bad. Ben Stiller Heavyweights is the movie.
Heavyweights.
Oh my God, Sarah, Google Heavyweights right now.
What?
And
what
look
year
at the
did it come out?
poster.
Oh my gosh.
Just type in Heavyweights.
Okay. You also can't forget Along Came Polly. It's funny. He has some like really...
He's either very normal or like wild.
I'm telling you.
Like, you just need to look at some of these
God, I
stills
remember
from
this.
Heavyweights.
Yes,
you remember
I remember
it, right?
this. Yes, he was a lot in this movie.
He was so much in this.
Yeah.
So there we have it. The Ben Stiller scale, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, you got Starsky and Hutch.
I was going to say, he's David Starsky.
I would say like middle of the pack there, leaning towards Lil Wild.
I'd say he's a 6 or a 7 in that. Yeah, for sure.
Me too. I'm like going through right now and I'm just like, oh my God, what about this one? Oh, good God, what about this one?
Yeah.
He was in Freaks and Geeks.
Was he? I feel like everybody was in Freaks and Geeks.
He was uncredited.
Yeah.
In one episode.
Like you're watching Freaks and Geeks and like Shia LaBeouf has like 2 lines in a scene and you're like, what is going on?
Do you want to know what music video he was in?
He was in a music video. Tell me an era. Give me a year.
1999.
99. So
I can say all of the words to this entire song.
Yeah. So 99, Backstreet Boys are not as popular anymore as NSYNC.
No, I don't know why I know all the words.
Is it
to
a
this
Britney
song.
Spears?
No.
Okay, what is it?
It's Smash Mouth All Star.
Stop. He's in that music video? Yes. Why?
Yes, he's titled as Furious. So I don't know if Furious
is that the name of his character?
His character, yeah.
His make-believe character in this music video.
It's Furious.
Wow.
Yeah.
We need to go back and watch that.
We do. Yes. Yeah. Oh, he was in, oh my gosh. The last one.
Yeah.
There is Something About Mary.
Oh, that has to be on our list.
Oh my God, when he does up his pants in the bathroom.
Certainly. Anybody who's watched the movie is aware. Yeah.
Just can't.
Stop. Put it on the list, ladies and gentlemen.
That is up there too.
We got to do that one. What should have been? My only what should have been is that you should have watched this on cable TV in the late 2000s because everybody did. You know what? I actually found the list back to what I literally introed the pod with being that I think that this movie is a cable TV champ.
Yes.
It was just one of those things that was on TV and then we watched it too much and we didn't realize. I have some stats for like what the actual most popular movies on cable TV are.
Okay.
Now, so I found 2 sets of stats. This set of stats are from 2019. So it's just for that year. Number 1 movie on the board. Actually, do you think you could hit some of these?
Oh, God. No, let's not do that.
Okay. Roadhouse. The
OG.
The OG Roadhouse
Not
was
the one
number
that
1.
just came out.
Jumanji with Robin Williams
Oh
was
my
number
God.
2.
I was terrified, but I loved that movie.
How many times have we seen that on
so
cable?
Many.
Gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big one in our
300
house.
too. But I know this is,
Yeah, well, I think Gladiator was just more widely accessible, I think. Like, 300 was the grittier, angrier Gladiator, I feel. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, obviously, because Jim Carrey had to have a movie that was on cable all the time.
Yeah.
Outside of the cable
At least
guy.
it wasn't Mask.
A Few Good Men, and then Top Gun. But then I saw another set of lists that are like, these are the all-time over the years and years of just TV existing. The Wizard of Oz, the original.
Oh.
Miss Doubtfire, another Robin Williams.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good movie.
Oh, and how...
No. Is that it?
Yeah. When she's got the cream on her face?
Cream on her face.
Hello. A Christmas Story. And It's a Wonderful Life being probably the most watched, or like most aired on cable.
I would agree.
Overall rewatchability, I've got Chemistry a 4.85. I mean, obviously Ben Stiller, Terry Polo. Here's the thing, like they don't really show a whole lot of affection, but I still believe in the relationship. But I think the real chemistry is De Niro, Hoffman, Barbra Streisand, kind of that whole triangle. They work so well off each other. Storyline, I've got a 4.15. I thought the story was really fun and interesting, and they really, they're not reinventing the wheel, but they still made it fun. And then my other scores are a little bit tougher. Thirst Factor, a 3.5 out of 5. Imagination, though, a 2.25. Like, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. It is a sequel to Meet the Parents, but we do still go through a lot of the same beats as Meet the Parents. Soundtrack, aside from Puff the Magic Dragon as like the horn on the RV, nothing really sticks out. 2.5 out of 5. And Cheese, this one's so tough, Sarah. Because there are moments, there are moments where it's cringe comedy, like at the end when Ben Stiller is up on the stage and he's revealing all that stuff, that I had to pause to be like, oh, I don't know if I can get through it. But it was still good. But then there's moments where it's like the dog is getting flushed down the toilet. I'm like, okay, that in my mind are the two sides of Cheese.
I agree.
The one Cheese is like, of course we're going to have an awkward Ben Stiller moment at the end of this, but it's cringe comedy and I can like it delivers, whereas we're going to flush the dog down the toilet and then the dog's blue, like of course the dog's blue. 2.35 out of 5 for Cheese for me, because there was a little bit more of that stuff than the other stuff, I thought. For an overall score, I've got 3.26 out of 5 for this one.
Okay, so chemistry 5.
Yeah.
I loved the chemistry in this. I thought it was very well done. Storyline 4, because I do agree it's not reinventing it, but they still did make it a good time for the viewers. Thirst Factor 3.1, Imagination 2.2. It was like a reiteration of the first movie with some new aspects in it, but ultimately the same kind of play out. Soundtrack 2. Cheese 2.5, because I agree. It's pretty much split down the middle for me of good cheese and bad cheese. Yeah. The cat, let's clarify that. The cat flushing the dog down the toilet. First off, dog won't fit down the toilet. Secondly, cat flushing dog down toilet won't happen. Whereas there is good cheese in it too, right? So for an overall score of 3.13 out of 5.
Okay, so we're pretty much bang on there this has been your rom-com rewind of Meet the Fockers.
Thanks for listening.